Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech. Welcome back to another episode of Caffeine and Crypto, where I welcome you to join me with your caffeinated beverage of choice as we go over some crypto news, interests, things of this week. It's honestly not much going on. I mean, pretty much, everybody making their price predictions on Bitcoin and talking about the halving coming up and this, that, and the other thing, but really not much going on. At least from our viewpoint. Bitcoin sitting around 51K. It's been bouncing between like 50,800 and like almost getting to 52 and then getting into 52 and then getting pushed back down. So a lot of resistance at that 52 going into 53 range. Polkadot up to around $7.84, 5% today. Near, Say, Rune, Tether, Blur. Nothing too much to write home about. I actually got rid of my Gala position because that thing was pissing me off, to be honest. Maybe a bad idea because now it's up, but it was just driving me up the wall, man. And I don't know. Compared to what it used to be, maybe I should have held longer, but compared to what it used to be, I just got out of it. I was just tired of it. And I had to liquidate some Ethereum recently because, well, you'll find out on the channel. So stay tuned. Make sure you get subscribed, hit that notification bell to stay up to date. Had a really rough day freaking this week, but it's all good. Everything is A-okay. So right now, looking at the daily chart, anything that made sense before doesn't make sense anymore. Trends are still trends. TA is still TA, but like there's a lot of variables at play here. So nobody can just tell you straight up, yeah, we're going to the moon right now. We're going to the moon in 3 months. We're going to the moon in 2025, into 2024. I said my speculation in my pieces before, but there's just too many variables at play here, guys. There's just way too many variables. We got, the ETFs. We got some concerns regarding regulation. The good thing is, and I can't tell you much about it, but the good thing is that people I know and trust are in the space when it comes to working with regulators, the politicians, and the economists. So that's a good thing, right? So we have people in the ring fighting on our behalf. Right? Not just the miners, but crypto overall, right? The ecosystem, and help keep it healthy. To make sure that these idiots aren't going to ruin it and stuff like that, because they could ruin it. Now, it seems that BlackRock is on our side. They don't want a CBDC. They don't want the government to control crypto. And even if they try to control Bitcoin, they're going to fail. It's not going to work. That's the whole reason of Bitcoin. But it seems that BlackRock is on our side, but I will be skeptical, or I wouldn't trust BlackRock's intentions. But still, it's a good thing to have, as powerful as BlackRock is for the industry. Maybe use them for a little bit to pump our baggies, and then take profits and leave them holding the bag. That'd be nice. But I don't foresee Bitcoin being a $10,000 or less cryptocurrency ever again in the future. We're almost, in my personal opinion, we're basically out of the $20,000 range. I do not see Bitcoin going back down to $20,000 or $10,000. If anything, it would take a black swan event and a lot of negative pressure, news and otherwise, for us to even consider going back down to the mid 20s, 30,000, somewhere over here, right? And that fall, if we were to calculate that where we are now to, let's say, 25,000, which is about where I have this legacy line, is a 50% drop. Now, we've seen 50s before. We've seen pumps of 30% and reductions of 30%, and we even seen 50%, and we even seen more than 50%, during the pandemic, or like right before the pandemic, somewhere in that time frame, the Black Swan, what was it, Black Thursday. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. But if I saw that personally, and let me know your thoughts in the live chat. If I saw that, if we had a Black Swan event, pre-halving, after the halving, before we rocket to the moon, and it dropped down, you know, into the 30s, into the 28s, into the 25,000s. Thank you, everybody coming over from Crypto Mikkel. Good morning to you, afternoon or evening. What I was talking to everybody about is I don't foresee Bitcoin ever getting to the $10,000 or $20,000 range. Like we're beyond that now. So people waiting on the sidelines for that day to happen. Your best bet is to dollar cost average, not financial advice, but just logic again. Dollar cost average and you know, try to stack as much sats as you possibly can. But if we had that event, that would mean to me that's an opportunity, right? Like I believe I even told the wife, you know, if Bitcoin goes down to, you know, 30 something thousand, you know, we need to put some house money on it. Not bet the house on it, but like we have, for example, you know, we have our diversified portfolio, right? Real estate, crypto, reserve cash, whatever, right? It's not a lot, but we have that diversified portfolio. And what I'm saying is the money for the house, right? The stuff that you would use for house repairs, renovation, stuff like that. We need to take a little bit of that, very small percent, and put that into Bitcoin. That's where we're at right now. But as I said before, Crypto Mikkel's colleagues and viewers, again, thank you for coming by. Stop by. I just don't see us getting that low, and there's not really much happening in the news. As I mentioned at the beginning, basically there's just a lot of variables at play here, and to accurately predict where Bitcoin's going to go, other than it's going to go up from this point forward, not all the time, but this go up from this point forward is not an unrealistic approach, because it will go up. We're going to have our dips. We're going to have our 30% pullbacks, maybe some black swans, but it's just going to go up because we are just destroying the supply. Like there is no, if these guys could hoover up more Bitcoin, they would, but you're not selling. That's their problem. Bitcoin's price will go up because you're not selling. If you don't sell, and this encompasses the larger mining operation, the mid-scale mining operation, they don't want to sell. They're selling some to cover their overhead costs, yada yada yada, operations, whatever. But they don't want to sell their largest position, and because we're not selling, the price will continue to go up because the amount of demand that's pent up and trying to get as much Bitcoin as possible is not being met. And I think we're just getting done with GBTC, or getting close to, right? Like the outflows of GBTC, wait 30 days, they get back in with another ETF, VanEck, BlackRock, whatever. I think we're getting to the tail end of that. We also had FTX liquidations. We're getting to the tail end of that. So it's just a matter of time. So all this past week was price predictions, Bitcoin ETF, price predictions. Craig Wright being an idiot as usual. Price predictions. You know, our traders running out of steam because we're not pushing Bitcoin any higher. You know, our returning bearish. That's basically the news. I'm just going to summarize that up for you. That's basically the news. But if you do want to stay to the end, I would greatly appreciate it as we go through some articles. We're going to talk about this price prediction. We're going to talk about Bitcoin's funding rate turns negative, but have traders turn bearish. We're going to talk about Craig Wright being an idiot as usual. How this article from the Mercury News and the author Larry Wilson calls Bitcoin and cryptocurrency a Ponzi scheme. Still, that mindset is there, but okay. Why Solana will prevail despite Ethereum, and the opinion piece. Republican Tom Elmer calls government agency Bitcoin miner survey. We talked about this last week. The survey has been temporarily suspended, Crypto Mikkel. This is what I was talking about. Is this survey was designed to go out to various farms, large, mid-scale, whatever, and you would have to complete this survey and submit it to your government about XYZ, machines, power usage, ESG mix, yada, yada, yada. That has been suspended, which is good news. We'll talk about that in a minute. Bitcoin mysterious inventor, Satoshi Nakamoto. So this is Adam back emails between Satoshi and Adam. It's out there. It's for the world to see. I will link to it. You can go to bitcoinmagazine.com. It's right there at the top. But we got 2 pages, or 2 articles really. The 120 pages detailing the work of Bitcoin on Satoshi's emails, as well as read Adam Back's complete emails with Satoshi. I like Adam. Adam's been in the space for a very, very long time. That's an OG. Respect. I would go check this out. I'm not going to talk about it in today's stream other than mentioning it to you. But when you get time, if you haven't read the Bitcoin white paper, you should have already done that. If you're watching my channel, please go read the Bitcoin white paper. And then go check out Bitcoin Magazine and read up on Adam Back and Satoshi's emails and communications. Really good stuff. But last thing is Reddit's excessive cash reserves, and it's pushing it into Bitcoin because it's filing for the IPO, yada, yada, yada. Bitcoin halving may push miners offshore. So those are the articles. Let's just get right into it. And thank you, everybody, for stopping by. See Dan Ruggs in there. Thank you stopping by, buddy. Good morning to you. Rud Puts, Fudweiser, J Rose, Yeti, Magic Lucky, Crypto Pounder 4, Chris Hanley, Gandalf Gray, Crypto Craig, I think I said your name. No, I didn't say your name yet. Seb, what's going on? Bearded Cryptic, appreciate you guys. Automatic Beats, thank you so much for stopping by. If you need my attention, please at me or send a super chat. Otherwise, let's get started. We're 13 minutes in. Let's get started. All right, so Bitcoin could hit 150K this year, says Tom Lee, right? Obviously, considering the Bitcoin halving, the amount is the demand, everything that I talked about at the beginning of the stream. They say a quote here, you have demand improving with the new ETFs, and you have supply shrinking with the halving, and if monetary policy eases, right, so the Fed rate increases, hikes, pausing, decreases, whatever, right, and we're expecting March to be another pause, right, which is why the markets are kind of going up. They already have it priced in based on the market or the Fed pausing rates. Now, if they change and they raise rates or go the opposite way, that could upset the balance, but we'll see how things go. And that's supported for risk assets like Bitcoin. League comments came as Bitcoin rally appeared to have lost some steam following a 35% gain over the past couple of weeks to 53K, its highest price in 26 months. It was recently changed hands around 50,000, almost 51,000, down 1.8%. Today it's at 51.3, 51.4 over the past 24 hours, holding up slightly better than the broader market. CoinDesk 20 index, or the CD20, 3% decline during the same period. We also saw stocks like Bitcoin miner stocks saw a decent increase. Coinbase saw a decent increase after earnings and so on and so forth. So people are coming back into crypto, but as I mentioned in last week's stream, retail is not really in it. You and I might be in it, but the bulk of retail has not jumped back into the crypto game. They got burned last time. They're a little bit hurt. You know, you didn't respond back to their texts. You catfished them, whatever you did, and now they haven't got back into the crypto game. And when those people come in, on top of the institutional interest in ETFs, I think is going to be the next push up. But we'll see how things go. Lee goes on to say that Bitcoin's been holding up, and that he does not think a drawdown is going to start anytime soon, even though we are pulling back. We're retracing a little bit. This is not a huge retracement, but we're retracing a little bit, and it's healthy, right? We were going up way too fast. If you look at this half pipe, it is way too crazy. Thank you, Dan Ruggs, for the $5, man. I appreciate it. Hit the like and tell your friends. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that, brother, but I appreciate it nonetheless, man. I really do. So this half pipe, right? We're looking at the daily, and I call it a half pipe. Did I move that? Yeah. But you know, basically from the 5th to how many days is that? From the 5th, where we were, to let's say about right here, that was 10 days. 10 days is straight up. Well, maybe one day of kind of like a mixed bag of red, but 10 days is straight up. And I mean, if you kind of zoom in and look at how straight up that is. Look at that. That's not healthy, right? These little up blips are good. That's fine. But when we have straight up like that, usually that's not healthy. We want some type of retracement. We have at least this week we had 3 red days, and now we're having a green one. Will next week start a lot better? We'll be able to push into the 53s and hold above 54K. I really hope so. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. And bullish sentiment is still out there. You're having many of the crypto influencers, investors, and investors basically call for Bitcoin to be 100K, 150K. Is that outside the reason of logic, or outside? Is that outside what mathematically is sound? And the answer is no. Mathematically, we could see 150K, we could see 100K, but some people are calling for $1 million. Now, I think that's outside. I don't think Bitcoin would get to $1 million, especially like anytime soon. But some people are calling for it to happen like soon, like 2025 soon. I don't think that's possible, at least not right now with the current situation as is. If we get some clear guidance and clear regulation and clear rules and laws on cryptocurrencies in general, that's going to be, to me, the last big bullish signal that we can receive. And are we there yet? I don't know, but for some of you that just came over from Crypto Mikkel, all I can tell you is that we have people in the fight. We have people that we trust and respect inside rooms with the regulators, the economists, and the politicians. So we have a leg in the race, and that's a good thing. So Dennis Porter, keep rocking out. Tim, keep rocking out. Mike, keep rocking out. All the rest of you, I know you're going to try to bring your guidance as much as you can. Now, Bitcoin's funding rate turns negative, but have traders turn bearish? Talking about, have we went bearish? Now, all traders should be playing both sides of the field. And what I mean by that is they should be longing and they should be shorting. If you're just long all the time, there's going to be chances there where you missed out on opportunities to stack more sats. And what I mean by that is as Bitcoin's going down, you sold at 53.2 and you picked back up at 50,800 right before the bottom. And now you have more Bitcoin with because you obviously got more cash at the 54 or 53 and you picked up more Bitcoin at the time. So you're stacking sats. So playing both sides of the field is pretty good. Not a lot of people can do that. Like they don't have time to sit down and trade all day. So there's automated trading, but that costs money. So there's a balancing act. You got to do what's best for you, your household, and your situation. Always pay your bills first, take care of your family. But if you got that extra capital or cash on the side, you can invest it in various forms, whether it's stocks, real estate, or crypto. A lot of people are in crypto. I'm into everything because I want to diversify myself as much as possible. Like I said in the past, spread my weight out on the ice because I don't want to punch a hole and fall through. Bitcoin futures contracts funding rate briefly showed an excess of demand for short position on February 22nd, sparking speculation of potential further bearish momentum. Considering Bitcoin posted the 33% gain over, at the beginning of 2024, but some analysts believe that 1 trillion market capitalization at 50K or 51K may represent a local top. And they're talking about Bitcoin hitting back over that 1 trillion market cap. You can see here we're still over it. All right, we are $1 trillion asset class is what the Bitcoin's market cap is at. That's awesome. That's a good thing, right? We recently got into that or back into it since previous bull and bear markets. So that's a good thing. I think we can go to 1.5 eventually, maybe not in anytime soon, but definitely we'll see how things go. Now, various rationales have been put forth by analysts and traders to explain potential Bitcoin correction, ranging from the RSI or the relative strength index divergence, detachment from the Bitcoin-related stocks, and a historical lack of bullish momentum 60 days ahead of the halving. Ooh, I said it, Max. I'm sorry. Ahead of the halving. To the fact of around 2.5% of supply was likely purchased near the 51.5K level. Now, the halving reduces supply, but the trend is, as I mentioned many times before, if you watch this damn channel, is we usually drop right before the halving. So let's back up here and let's predict the future. Now, this is not going to be accurate. This is me speculating, okay? So how do I draw here? I could easily see us fall back into the high 40s, chop sideways, fall down to the next level of 44K. Maybe there's a 42 in our future or 38, but that's pretty much where I'm at, right? And we have the halving in April. Well, that's kind of far away. Hang on. Basically, I'm saying we're going to drop before the halving. So even if we do pick up a little bit, chop. We might fall down to that 45, chop, 42, move sideways some more. Maybe the top of 40, move sideways some more. Start to pick back up after a halving because we're in July. And then we start our descent or ascent upwards. Where's that at? That's in August. So I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that. I think we're going to start rising up in September, October, basically the holiday. Remember how I said every year people usually sell a bag? That's basically what I'm looking at, right? So downwards, chop sideways, over the course, going into a halving, after the halving, and then towards the end of the year, as we get closer to the holidays, we start to see an increase. Now, here's something I don't have calculated for. Have you guys gotten your tax returns yet? Don't tell people how much money you freaking make. I'm just asking, have you gotten your tax return this year? I'm hoping you already filed. And I haven't even released my video about how easy it is to file nowadays. But hopefully you guys filed and you get your tax return. Now, when people have their tax return, they usually go out and buy stuff, whether it's new kicks, new shoes, new shirt, more crypto, a new car, whatever it is. So we could actually push up over the short term, right? Because I think April is the deadline for submissions of your taxes here in the United States. So we could actually go up to 54, 55, 56 before we drop down before the halving. But again, there's too many freaking variables. There's too many freaking variables to call an accurate picture. You need what's that lady? The sidekick that everybody in the 90s. Oh my god. Started with a C. Cleo? Is it Cleo? I don't know. Anyways, you almost need one of them. And that's a joke, by the way. But basically, investors are saying that demand for Bitcoin is there. The supply isn't. And we're running out of steam. I'm not running out of steam because I'm still stacking sats, but I'm mining. So I'm spending electricity to get more Bitcoin because I believe in Bitcoin long term. When I have opportunities to buy Bitcoin, I mean, converting cash into it, I'm definitely going to do it. But yeah. And you can see, like I said earlier, retail hasn't really got into it because they're burnt. They're not happy with it, right? They just want to see how things go. They don't think the jump from 40K or 38K to 50K was really enticing enough for them to get back in. So when these numbers start getting to 60K and we get near all-time high, 65, they're going to start FOMOing in, pushing us above that 69K or that previous all-time high of around 69.5, I think. So we'll see how it goes. But peak interest in the past 5 years occurred in the week ending in January 9th, 2021. They're talking about peak interest from this surge after Bitcoin price has already surged or had already surged 150% in 2 months. This underscores the idea that the absence of demand for leveraged longs using Bitcoin perpetual futures doesn't necessarily indicate bearish sentiment or lack of interest from retail. In the end, the slightly negative futures funding rate for Bitcoin futures should overly concern bullish investors. So from a future standpoint, there's some bearish indicators, but that's on the short scale or the short time frames. I'm looking long term. Now let's move on to the idiot called Craig Wright. And Craig Wright, if you don't like me, I'm sorry, sir. I mean, you just seem to make an ass out of yourself and you need to stop. You are not the inventor of Bitcoin. Please stop lying to the people and just move on with your life. Anyways, Craig Wright admits to editing Bitcoin white paper presented in the trial. Cop the trial is to find out whether or not Craig Wright is the creator of Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto has completed its 3rd week. And Craig Wright admitted to making changes to the version of the Bitcoin white paper he presented to the trial, or the Crypto Open Patent Alliance trial, while testifying Friday. The trial to prove whether or not Craig Wright is the anonymous creator of Bitcoin white paper completed his 3rd week. Copta wants to prove Wright's claim to be Satoshi Nakamoto is a lie afforded by the industry style forgeries, and the Bitcoin developer lawyer Alexander Gunning is helping them. On Friday, Gunning showed that Wright made edits to the Bitcoin white paper in his latex files, which Wright agreed was accurate. Wright said his edits were simply a demonstration for his representatives at the Smiths, whatever that is, Smiths, his law firm. You are not showing this to anyone. We know the times you were showing this to Sue Smith. You were doing it for yourself, says Gunning, the lawyer. What are you doing is tweaking parameters to get them to fit the layout of the Bitcoin white paper, Gunning added. The file was uploaded as recently as November 2023. Gunning ended the questioning by asking, your claim to be Satoshi Nakamoto is a fraudulent claim, isn't it? And then obviously correct Wright disputed it. Week 3, Wright's testimony capped off the third week of the trial, which saw some of Kopta's witnesses take the stand to face questioning from Wright's lawyers. A bunch of weird names, and forgive me, I mean no disrespect, but Zuko Wilcox O'Hearn, a computer scientist and founder of Zcash, testified on Thursday where he was questioned on how well he knew Nakamoto. Wilcox said he wouldn't call himself pals with the creator, but in court documents, he said that he was not sure if he had any private conversations with Nakamoto. This is where Adam Back's emails come in. Maybe not Adam Back's emails come in with this situation, but you know, there's only a handful of people that Satoshi actually trusted and talked to, even though they never met in person. Then another computer scientist, Marty Malmi, spoke on Wednesday disputing the dates that Wright put forward about the Malmi interaction with Nakamoto. Malmi later released his emails with Nakamoto on X or Twitter. That's why you're having all these email releases. Wright said it in his witness sentences that Malmi approached Nakamoto in February 2009, but Malmi said in his statement that was incorrect, that the date was actually May 1st, 2021. Adam Back, the CEO of Bitcoin technology company Blockstream, said that his first statement, he corresponded with someone purported to be Nakamoto via email. In his statement, he showed an email he received from Nakamoto on August 20th, 2008, where he said that he planned to cite Back's paper about proof of work system, and Back responded by sending more sources or resources. Wright described Back's interactions with Nakamoto as dismissive, which Back said was inaccurate. We'll see more as this unveils, but now we know, or now you know, why I was talking about reading these emails, so you can be educated, right? This is the release of Adam Back's emails with Satoshi, and there's additional emails in there or additional information in there that could help you draw a clearer picture and help you know what's real and what's not. So check that out. Bitcoinmagazine.com. As soon as you go to the website, if I refresh it, it's right there at the freaking top. There's read Adam Back's complete emails with Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto. And then if you scroll down, there's another one here with 120 pages detailing the work on Bitcoin. Additional information that you can combine with the white paper to help you draw a better conclusion. But Craig White is not the creator of Bitcoin. Now, moving from another person, moving from one idiot to another, and I say that, and that's being disrespectful. I don't want to call this gentleman or this individual an idiot, but the fact that they still call Bitcoin or cryptocurrency a Ponzi scheme, I understand Bitcoin not being a Ponzi scheme. Other cryptocurrencies, yes, right? Because they are Ponzi schemes. They are rug pulls, honeypots, all kinds of stuff. But let me just read this to you. So, Larry Wilson, you're not an idiot. Maybe you're just uneducated. But anyways, they write here, it's a rare thing in this world that can be pronounced with absolute certainty as nonsense. Drivel, blige, claptrap. Village? I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot because I can't pronounce the words that you wrote in your article. I'm sorry. You're smarter than I am. Anyways, but there are a few such things, and one of them we can be sure. So every time I hear of someone talking about cryptocurrency or taking cryptocurrency seriously, I have to ask them, do you realize it's all bull? Not a little bit on the baloney side of the ledger, not just another gamble or fun fad or a cool investment or an interesting alternative to the apparently deadly dull real thing that is money. It doesn't exist. It's a scam. It's a prank. It has no intrinsic value whatsoever. So why do we even talk about it? Beats me several years in the Bitcoin era. But the fact that your Uncle Nate still insists that you're missing the next big thing by not exchanging legal tender for a piece of Ponzi scheme does not make it a Ponzi scheme. It's true that in the wake of the properly discarded old gold standard, the popular dollar in your wallet has value mostly based on the fact that other parties will accept it in exchange for goods and services. And it's sort of true that it also has value because it's backed by the full faith and credit of the US government. But the dollar is usually worth relatively more than any other currency issued by any other national treasury in the world, not because in the old days of gold bricks piled up in Fort Knox, or these days Washington, D.C. standing behind us, it's worth more than other currencies because of the strength and low risk of the U.S. economy. BS. BS. You're telling me the U.S. economy is low risk and high strength. Okay, if you say so. Sometimes it is, but not all the time. And right there is another good reason to tell Uncle Nate that the next time he starts fixing the strap horns on his head and have a little insurrection at the Capitol Dome to knock it off, knucklehead, he's messing with your net worth. It is all, I don't know what that had to do with Bitcoin and money, but whatever. This guy's throwing all kinds of different things in here. It's also true that if you're prepared to deal with the exchange system that gives new meaning to the word volatility, you can buy and find ways to spend instruments of digital currency. But what is it you imagine should this instrument be backed by? Some artist hustling you out of the next thing in some park that he says, a con man who would like to take your actual money in exchange for counterfeit currency, would tell you that crypto is just digital money and doesn't require a bank to verify transactions, which are recorded on the blockchain. An unchangeable ledger that tracks and records assets and trades. They will laud it as a very criterion current, I don't know, because it allows people to make payments to each other directly through online system. To which I reply, babe, ever heard of Venmo? There is very old and very wise rule of investing that holds you should never put money into something you don't understand. And I will confess that while I have not put one dime into the crypto market, it wasn't until very recently that I understood one of the weirdest things about it. I knew that there were these crypto mining operations spread around the country in which vast arrays of powerful machines perform trillions of calculations per second as part of an effort to encrypt and prevent fraud. Bitcoin, there's never been fraud. So wait, there's never been fraud. So I don't understand that. Why are you laughing? That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyways, but I hadn't grokked that these mines were not run by whatever Samuel Bankman fraudster you had allowed to swindle you out of crypto. I hadn't grokked that these mines were not run by whatever, swindle out of crypto, but by an independent operators vying to be the fastest outfit to solve a particular problem that is part of the Bitcoin security or blockchain security. If you beat the others, the fraudster pays you in Bitcoin or whatever the digital currency is. Talking about bringing it all back home. Respect that there is a definition of the perfect crime. It would take a Harvard dropout to be smart enough to create a grift of this magnitude. Dude, what are you on about? Larry, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? You talk about understanding it, but you clearly don't understand it. You clearly don't understand it. So you want government-backed digital currencies. You want government-controlled digital currencies. And there are people like that. So that will happen. But it isn't going to be Bitcoin. So if you want to stay on Venmo and PayPal and have your cryptocurrencies in a centralized location that if they fail, you lose all your assets, by all means, go for it. The point of crypto, especially blockchain and Bitcoin, is to put the power back into the hands of the people, that you and I can trade with one another, barter with one another for goods. And there are people that accept crypto. You say that, nobody accepts Bitcoin. I just went and bought a beer the other weekend with Bitcoin. So that's incorrect. It may not be as widespread as cash, but when you swipe your card and you tap your card or you use Google Pay or whatever, it's just digital money, right? It is backed by the US dollar or the confidence of the government, but how much confidence do you have in the government? I have some confidence in government. but I don't have a lot of confidence in government. And I don't need what happened in 2008 to happen again. And I don't need what happened to my mom during her investment days in the early 80, as she saved throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s to get wrecked in one fell swoop because some rich idiot made the wrong move. Like, it's a hedge against the government doing stupid stuff, and the government does stupid stuff all the time. So I don't think you clearly understand what Bitcoin is intended for and its intrinsic value that you say it doesn't have. Anyways, moving on. Now that I'm done with my soap, let me get off my soapbox. Why Solana will prevail despite Ethereum's ETFs. Now, I'm bullish on Solana. It had multiple issues throughout the years. Hacks or loss of funds, or it went down or whatever. Multiple issues. But now that SBF is out, right? Now that SBF is out, which I believe they're out, there's been no shortage of stories talking about Solana and links to FTX, with many predicting its demise. However, Solana has weathered the storm according to the handful of metrics. For instance, the number of active addresses on the network has nearly reached its 2022 level. The number of new addresses have continued to grow at almost as fast as the rate in 2022. And in fact, the number of unique active wallets is up from 2022. So Solana just has continued to grow. FTX, or the whole SBF FTX debacle, is done with, right? It's gone. Solana just needs to continue to improve, optimize, and make sure that their system doesn't go down. It needs to be a reliable blockchain, a reliable network, a reliable ecosystem that projects, which many have come online. I mean, if we look at I think we can look up by the ecosystem on CoinMarketCap. Let's see here, filters, industry, nope, platform, Solana ecosystem. There's a lot of the currencies that we are familiar with, right? The ones that were already on there. But it's grown. It's grown quite a bit. And I wonder how many are there total. There's 4 pages. There's 311 right now. And some of those currencies are like duplicates, right? Like Jupiter Perps LP, Jupiter da-da-da-da, whatever. But 301 cryptocurrencies on the Solana ecosystem. So it's growing, and that's a good thing. And I mentioned this before in my previous stream. And what I said to you guys, and again, not investment advice, not financial advice, yada, yada, yada. What I was saying is look at the tokens, so various ecosystems, and then look at their tokens, right? Like Avalanche, Arbitrum, Optimism, Solana, I think Jupiter and Solana kind of both are. But anyways, the point being is ecosystem tokens. Look at those and see if those are interesting to you. Because if we understand the ecosystem, right? For example, Ethereum, right? All the assets traded on there are usually against Ethereum, or if not USDC, USDT, whatever. If you get the ecosystem token, and the token's only around $3 right now, and you got a few dollars that you could throw into it, it could be in the future a $10 token or a $15 token or whatever. Polkadot's failed me really bad, but just look at those tokens is what I was saying. I wasn't saying invest in them. I was just saying look at them and see if the ecosystem interests you. Because if that ecosystem begins to grow, as we see in Solana, that could be a nice little bag for you to take profits. And don't be afraid to take profits, please. Stop sitting there on the sidelines and be like, hey, it could go higher. Like when it gets high, like just take profits. Okay? Just take profits. Anyways, Solana isn't operating perfectly. What the hell that happened? Get out of here. Solana isn't operating perfectly, but it's clearly defied the expectations of many who thought it might collapse after the FTX blow up. A large part of the recovery after the FTX, and it's grown since, and it has been driven by seemingly wise leadership, which in turn affects the technological investment, strategy, and ultimate community engagement. We can see here volume per dollar of TVL over 7 days. Solana's at $4.18. That's pretty good, actually. 7-day volume. Is that in millions? Yeah. So 2.2 billion? What does that mean? So that's a million. So 2,251 million. versus Ethereum's 10,116 million. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But either way, you can see Solana isn't an Ethereum as far as 7-day volume, but it is definitely up a volume per dollar of TVL, or total value locked. And then TVL total, I think, obviously Ethereum is big king. I don't know how Tron is still up there. Where is Tron at? Where the hell is Tron? What the heck? I know Tron's got a huge ecosystem, but what number are they? Are they number 11? There they are. Okay. I don't know. I just bypassed them. But I know it's got an entire ecosystem. I'm not a big Tron person. I was like playing some gambling games in the early days, but that's pretty much it. I haven't really done much with Tron. Let me know. What do you guys think about Tron? Is that an ecosystem you participate in? Like, it's primarily for me, it's Ethereum, it's Binance Smart Chain, it's Arbitrum, a little bit of Avalanche, some Base, but I don't really get into Tron. I have a Tron wallet if you want to send me some Tron. Everybody wants to pay you in USDT on Tron too, but it just sucks because you need Tron to like then send it. I hate it. Anyways, point being, Solana's doing good. The landscape's looking good. FTX is out. Can Solana continue to go up? Yeah, I can see that happening. Let's look at Solana USD. Let's look at the, I don't know which one to choose, Binance or Coinbase. Let's do Binance. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Solana's had a hard week this week. I'll tell you that much. Definitely had a hard week this week. Is that its all-time high right there? No, that's not its all-time high. Good God. Good God, man. The scales are too big. Wow. So Solana's all-time high was 265. Okay. Not bad. So Solana's got some room to grow as long as they continue to build and improve their ecosystem. I'm kind of bullish on Solana for the long term. Not the short term, but for the long time. But will it beat out Ethereum? Could it actually beat out Ethereum? Maybe in some metrics, like certain TVL metrics, but as far as Solana flipping Ethereum, not so much. And I know some people are talking about Ethereum flipping Bitcoin. I don't think so. I think it's going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some stable coin like USDT is, because everybody needs to use a stable coin to transact or convert assets and yada, yada, yada. But Solana's definitely made a nice little climb. You know who else has made a nice little climb? Caspa. It went from 32 to 27. It's at 16 cents right now. And I know many of you miners that bought the miners back in the day, or in the early days, are doing pretty good. You're reporting that online, so good job. Anyways, moving on. The survey. This is what I was warning some of my colleagues about. I'm not warning. I just wanted to know if they received it. So there was a Bitcoin miner survey sent out from a particular government agency. I can't remember the name of the agency. But basically, the EIA, the Energy Information Administration, right? And basically, it was a survey sent out to mining operations, and they wanted the survey filled out and submitted and provided. And this Republican senator, Tom Elmer, said that the survey was the abuse of power. He said he has a bone to pick with the U.S. Office Management and Budget over the recent move to authorize collecting data from Bitcoin mining companies in the U.S. Elmer said that he wants answers from the OMB after the government agency allowed last month for the EIA, a statistical and analytical agency with the U.S. Department of Energy, to begin surveying certain crypto mining firms on their electricity consumption. Elmer said, out of concerns over the OMB use of emergency approval authority, and said Bitcoin miners don't currently represent a threat to public safety in a letter sent to the OMB director, Shalanda Young, this week. Bitcoin mining is not a threat to public safety, period, Elmer said in a post on Thursday. The OMB's abuse of its emergency powers to attack Bitcoin miners demands an explanation. Elmer said that the agency has to prove that to the OMB that the public harm is reasonably likely, or that public harm is reasonably likely. With the assistance of the OMB, the EIA seems to be enforcing the Biden administration's regressive policy position against energy consumption and applying it subjectively to digital asset industries, Elmer wrote in a letter. Elmer posed Questions to the OMB, including asking about the criteria for the agency to use to determine the legitimacy of the emergency and whether the EIA got public input beforehand. Basically, don't send a survey out without talking to the right people. Another quote here. This is a case about sloppy government processes contrived with self-inflicted urgency and an invasive government data collection. Members of the Texas Blockchain Council, including Riot, said that the survey will take multiple employees many hours at each company every month, despite the EIA saying that it can only take half an hour each month, according to the complaint. Absent this court intervention, plaintiffs, TBC members, and other mining companies who have received and are bound to complete the legally defective survey will be immediately and irreparably harmed by being forced to divulge confidential, sensitive, and proprietary information to the EIA, which had no lawful authority to request or collect. The EIA declined to comment on the lawsuit, and the OMB and the Department of Energy did not respond to the request as well. As cryptocurrency mining has increased in the United States, concerns have grown about the energy-intensive nature of the business and its effects on the electrical power grid, or the U.S. electrical power grid. Concerns expressed by the EIA include strains to the electrical grid during periods of peak demand, the potential for higher electricity prices, as well as effects on energy-related carbon dioxide emissions, the EIA said. Crypto mining is adding significant demand to an already unreliable grid, posing enormous challenges to the transmission, distribution, and the prices, and contributing to the global climate crisis. Okay, not all farms are operating off of renewable resources, or they don't even have a renewable resource mix. We talked about this before. Some of them may be running off of just straight coal like the modern days and whatever. I understand that. Most of the large operations are running economical, reliable, with a mix of renewables and fossil, but their impact is not as grand as people seem to continue to portray to the public. Either way, the survey has been axed. That's a good thing. But this is what I was talking about, having people in the fight or having a leg in the race. We have people in those rooms with the economists, politicians, and regulators working to educate and make sure they're getting factual data and information. But this is a fight that's going to take continuous education from all of us. When you have somebody arguing, whether it's about this topic or another topic, please reference data and facts. Do not assume and do not misrepresent us. Use data and facts to argue against it. Please. But it's a good thing that this thing has been axed, and hopefully we'll see how the politicians continue to move forward. But yeah, U.S. Energy Data Agency to temporarily suspend Bitcoin miner survey after lawsuit. I wonder how I want to see the survey. If you were a farm, if you're a large mining operation, mid-scale operation, small-scale operation, I don't give a damn. If you got this survey from the EIA, I would be interested in seeing it. If you would be so kind. If you won't let me release it for fear or whatever, or I can't show it to the community, I would still like to see it. Please get a hold of me. Emails in the about section. I don't address every single email, but I really want to get my hands on a survey. Hit me up on Twitter, Discord, whatever. If you have the survey, if your farm has been provided the survey or requested to fill out that survey before they got axed, please let me know. I want to see it. But yeah, mining operations are pretty good. They're recapturing energy and repurposing it, whether it's, using hydro energy or solar energy or wind energy with a little bit of carbon capture or desalination, or taking something that would have leaked, a gas that would have leaked out into the atmosphere anyway in Texas, like methane, and converting it into energy. They're pretty damn good, and they have a clear understanding. They're working with the power grids, by the way. So our power grid here in the United States, just FYI, is crap. That is 100% true. It is crap. It needs to be upgraded, which is the whole point of the infrastructure bill. But I haven't seen much, or I haven't been able to hear much about where we're going. Are we improving our infrastructure, or is the power companies just taking the money and spending it on yachts? Like, what are we doing? Like, I haven't seen anything in my local area. I would like to see improvements in the electrical grid overall. But the mining operators, as we know, are working with power companies to improve the infrastructure of whatever their power company is, as well as curtailing their energy towards the demands of whatever, so that way a town, a city, a block, or whatever can get the energy it needs, shut down these section of miners or this operation, and boom, there we go to meet the demand during peak season or peak hours or peak whatever. So while they want to know every nook and cranny, like what hand you wipe your ass with, they need to be careful how far they overreach. But going back to Satoshi Nakamoto, this one says Bitcoin's mysterious investor Satoshi predicted crypto's continuous future and energy use in a 2009 email. This is newly released emails that show how Satoshi predicted Bitcoin's energy use. We got a quote here that says, I think it would still be less wasteful than the labor and resource intensive conventional banking activities it would replace. The 2009 email were unraveled or unveiled as part of a legal battle surrounding Satoshi's identity, the fight with Craig Wright. And let's see what they go here. So, quote, if it did grow to consume significant energy, I think it would still be less wasteful than the labor and resource intensive conventional banking activities it would replace, Satoshi said in a 2009 email with Martini, Cyrus Malmi, as part of the trial in against Craig Wright. Bitcoin uses energy-intensive proof of work to bolster security, blah, blah, blah. Satoshi said that the only solution I found to make P2P eCash work without a trusted third party. Meaning, the only way that we can keep this network decentralized is with proof of work. We've seen way too many times, and matter of fact, let's go to YouTube and pull up Coin Bureau, because Coin Bureau brought this up. We've seen way too many times, while there's all kinds of good tokens that are coming out, right? Let me go ahead and mute this tab. While there's all kinds of good cryptocurrencies coming out, the problem is, as they come out, and let me try to find it here, or as, since Bitcoin, it's basically become more and more centralized, right? And the only way to keep the network decentralized is with proof of work. Proof of work is the best for decentralization. Here we go. Here's the part, right? Since Bitcoin, it has gotten worse. And you can see here Ethereum, PayPal, Polkadot, Ripple, Avalanche, Visa, Solana, so on and so forth. Ethereum 2.0. Ethereum has become much more centralized since the switch off of proof of work to proof of stake. We know about that. It's a security concern, but the devs say it's not a big security concern. It's a centralization concern, but the devs say that it's not a big centralization concern. But we've seen, like with Tornado Cash and in the past, that if the government or government agencies say, hey, do not allow this wallet to transact or be able to move the funds or give us the funds back or whatever they want, they could do that, right? They could push that through. With Bitcoin, if I send Bitcoin to the wrong address, there's no returning that unless the person that owns that address feels kind and wants to give it back. So, yeah. Ironic if we end up having to choose between economic liberty and conservation, Satoshi wrote an email. Now, that's a healthy debate. Do you want liberty and freedom, or do you want controlled conservation? We do need to conserve for like energy standpoint. Like I'm not a big, like I know a lot of people hate me because of this, but I do understand our impact on the planet, and I do understand that we need to do better to protect our planet, our energy usage and stuff like that. But like there's other industries, like I think I talked about it in a previous short, like nothing against Koenigsegg. I like Koenigsegg, but they got a 7 megawatt dyno. A 7 megawatt dyno. Now they do recapture some of the energy. Some of it gets dissipated, but they do recapture some of the energy or the electricity used to cool the room, run the car, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But a 7 megawatt dyno, bro. Like, dyno room. And there's mining farms with 5 megawatts, 10 megawatts, right? So, like, we gotta think about it in that context, because there's a lot of industries that use a lot more power than Bitcoin, or not some Bitcoin mining operations. and yet they're not being looked at. They're not being like, hey, what is your ESG mix? Hey, what let me survey you. What are you using all this electricity for? So let's be fair. If we're gonna throw stones, let's make sure that, you know, everything is fair first. Bitcoin halving bloodbath could push U.S. miners offshore. Now, we talked about this as we get ready for Red Panda Mine to go live here in a little bit. We talked about this before, and don't forget to check out Satoshi Nakamoto's emails with Adam Back in the fight against Craig Wright, or to prove that he's not Satoshi Nakamoto. Just go to bitcoinmagazine.com. Reddit is investing a lot of its cash reserves into Bitcoin. When it filed with the SEC for its IPO, that information had to be disclosed. We can see their position, and it's very interesting that Reddit, this big social enterprise, is got so much into crypto. That's basically the gist of it. But as far as Bitcoin mining, as I get ready to let you guys go, I appreciate you. I thank you for your support. I really love this community, and I hope to see continue to grow for all of us. But let me ask you this. Bitcoin halving is coming, right? We only got so many days, 59 days. Do you think, and I know that some mining operations are prepared. They're ready to go. They're profitable to a certain point. If the electricity prices increase to a certain point, they're still golden. If the amount of profit or amount of Bitcoin they earn per day goes down to this point, they're still golden. But there's going to be some situations, and be prepared for secondhand miners if you need them. If you're waiting for secondhand miners, kind of like the GPU market, they will become available as some of these other operations who didn't calculate, shut down, pause operations, maybe cut back or slim down their overall mining ops. We're going to have some people shake out. So be prepared for that, especially if you're looking for miners. Unfortunately, I can't wait. And again, you don't know what happened. I posted it on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter. But yeah, I had to liquidate some ETH, and I had to get something because I just had a really bad day last week, and things didn't go exactly to plan. But we're still good, and I'm still stacking as much sats as possible. But what do you think is going to happen? Do you think after the halving, could the U.S. lose a majority of the miners, right? So right now, this survey here, and I can't confirm whether the survey is accurate or not, but it says about 40% of Bitcoin mining is in the U.S., right? Remember when China banned it, a lot of people moved to the U.S. I'm assuming the 15% in the U.S. is mostly state-sponsored companies, 12% in Russia, 3.5% in Kazakhstan, because remember Kazakhstan was like, yo, man, you guys are using too much energy, get the hell out of here. Norway, 1.5%, which is kind of interesting. Where's that other company? Is it in Iceland or is it in Norway? Anyways, I think it's in Norway. Canada, 5%. That's Red Panda right there. Canada's 5% is Red Panda. I just want you to know that. And Rapid Mining. You guys make up 5%. I'm joking. USA, 40%. So we'll see how things go. But do you think that we're going to lose some of that? For example, maybe USA could go down to 25%. And then that could get dispersed. Maybe they move to Canada. Maybe they go to Russia. Maybe they go to China, Kazakhstan. Malaysia's at 3%. Ethiopia's at 0.3%. Maybe they go to the UAE, right? I've seen a lot of companies being very interested in the UAE or the United Arab Emirates. I'll be very interested to see if what we lose and where do they go. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think after halving we will lose a percentage, 5, 10, 2, no percent after the halving of miners, right? Let me know. Now, is it a good thing that the U.S. has so much? Yes and no. We don't want one country to rule everything, but it doesn't matter if the USA has more miners than China because it's still decentralized. The network is still decentralized. It still can't be altered. It still can't be manipulated. So, yeah. Anyways, is Red Panda live yet? Red Panda, where you is? Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick. So the network, yeah, so Foundry Digital has 27.6% of the net hash, Ant Pool 23%, F2 Pool 11%, Via BTC 11%, Binance probably like 10% or 9%, Luxor a smaller percentage. So like this is nice. I like this, right? Whereas if we go to other cryptocurrencies, for example, like especially new coins, right? It's gonna be 88%, 99%, 100% on one pool. Not that that's a big deal. Look at this AI power meme. So we went from AI power grid to AI power meme 90%. So a lot of these spec coins are gonna have one or two pools that control most of the net hash. Not as common with some of these larger scale operations. Caspa as well, very decentralized. I love it. This is good for us. But Satoshi's saying that there's a balancing act, and either we're gonna give up our civil liberties for conservation, or well, I don't think that that's the case. I'm saying that incorrectly. Point being is we're going to value conservation over our liberties. Or are we? Like, are we really going to be that foolish to think of it in that way? I think there's a way that we can be conservative as far as conservation, not as a political mindset, but being cautious of the energy we use, the amount of rare earths we use, when we mine, being kind to the earth, being kind to the ocean, recycling, our energy mix being diverse rather than just all carbon, carbon capture, multi-purposing, like, you know, immersion cooling to heat your water heater, or a big mining operation to use the heat and energy to desalinate water. Like stuff like that would be beneficial overall. And I think that's going to bring new industries and new businesses into the mining arena. Dogecoin, pretty decentralized. I'm trying to look for a token that isn't decentralized. So Nervos Network F2 pool has 50% of the net hash. That's something like that. That is the point where you need to be like, okay, let me move my miners off there, go to a different pool. You never want to have a pool near 50% net hash, period. You never do. You know, K1 pool on Zilliqa has 62%. That's, you know, 51% attack if it's enticing enough, if the incentive is there, you know, can happen. Chia's getting up there as NOSD climbs up to 46.4%. We need to make sure we decentralize there. Like, and it's up to us miners to keep the network decentralized. 2 miners at 40% on Ravencoin. But yeah, Bitcoin is very decentralized. Caspa, very decentralized. Alphium, not decentralized. We need to do better, guys. I know you don't want to go to Wooly Pooly because of things we saw in the past, but there's Viper.net, there's Alphium Pool, there's Coin Hunters. Like, let's get 40% at least of the net hash off of Hero Miners. Even though we love them, Hero Miners is great. Let's get it decentralized and move it to a different pool, please. I'll be greatly appreciated. Anyways, Red Panda Mining is live. Go hang out. Have yourself a great time. Thank you so much for watching. Oh my goodness. Make sure to hit the like button on the way out. Make sure to get subscribed, hit the notification bell to stay up to date. That's so funny. And yeah, appreciate all your support and time. Have yourself a good one. Go check out Bitcoin Magazine and Adam Back's emails with Satoshi. And yeah, all right. I said all the stuff. Like button, subscribe, all that stuff. Things down there. Links in the description. Support channel. Blah, blah, blah. I'll see y'all later.
You know quantum computers. You know blockchain. But do you know both together? Dynex was the first platform to create a neuromorphic supercomputing blockchain-based algorithm which solves real-world problems. And the best part? Anyone can post a job, whether a company from the Global 2000, a machine learning job, or fintech and pharmaceutical. And if you don't want to program it yourself, get an expert directly at the marketplace. Run the job and be impressed by the fast